another brand new edition of T Watches a Scary Movie. My name is T, and of course we are talking scary movies. I appreciate you tuning in for another brand new episode. Remember, new episodes are guaranteed to go up every Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. But I'm always putting out a lot of extra horror content throughout the entire week. So if you want to stay on top of everything that I'm putting out on all my various channels, the best way to do that is to get subscribed to my link tree. And you do that by going to linktr.ee/T Scary Movie. If you get subscribed to my link tree, that's going to give you access to my YouTube page for the video versions of the show, to your favorite podcasting platforms, the audio only versions of the show, to my Letterboxd page for my written reviews and my movie rankings, to my TikTok page for my short horror content including movie news and movie premieres, to my Fangoria shop page where you can enjoy my 20% discount off anything in the Fangoria shop, including the physical magazine subscription, and to my Twitch page where you can catch me doing all my horror gaming. And you're not going to want to miss that, folks, because I'm going to start working my way back through The Thing. We have the remake, which we talked about in movie news not too long ago now, that Night Dive Studios, they're doing the remaster of the 2002 game that hit PlayStation 2 and Xbox. And I figured, what better time than to go and do a run through this again right before it comes out this fall. So we're going to be looking to jump into that sometime into July. So stay tuned, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of that. But what are we talking about here tonight, folks? Well, it was just Sunday. It's now Monday. That means we got another episode of AMC's Interview with the Vampire. That's right, folks. We're here to talk another brand new episode of this amazing show, best show on TV right now. That is right. They are absolutely killing it with this. Please submit these guys. Please submit this cast for some awards consideration. Please, 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 please. But let me start off by saying right now, y'all, these coverage of Interview with the Vampire episodes are very much spoiler heavy. So if you don't want spoilers, you need to tune out right now because we're jumping into all of that, folks. That's right. So tonight, we're in episode 6 of season 2, Like the Light by which God made the world before he made light. Now, you might remember last week when we talked about episode 5, Don't Be Afraid, Just Start the Tape. This was a flashback episode that took us back to the 70s. We finally got to see the interview that Daniel Malloy did with Louis back in the 70s. This is what spurred everything that which the novel and the movie and this TV series is about. And getting to see that and getting to see kind of some of the comparisons to the 1994 movie was absolutely incredible. But for the purposes of the TV show, it pulled back another layer of information that we absolutely needed to have getting into the home stretch of episodes this season. We know disaster is coming to Louis and Claudia. We know that's happening. We know that the vampire troupe is absolutely going to be involved in it, and to a lesser extent, so is Armand as well. A lot of this was confirmed in last week's episode, so it's just a countdown of when things were finally going to explode. When were things going to come out? And a lot got done in this episode. First, before we start getting into a lot of the juicy stuff that's concerning our past, let's focus on what's happening in the present. Because we left off last week's episode with Daniel and Louis on mutual ground, they know Armand has been manipulating quite a number of things in Louis and in Daniel's life. And the two of them, they might not be on the same team, but they have a shared focus on Armand now for his interference in so many of their life events. And Louis has zero chill about any of this, which he really shouldn't, because you have to consider over the course of this season, Louis found out that Armand was putting those photos from the other artists in with his stuff, so then Louis would think it might have been his. We find out that Armand manipulated the situation that happened in the 70s with this interview with Daniel, that there's stuff that happened in the past with Claudia and the troupe. So right now Armand and Louis are not on good ground, and it's kind of like Louis finally had it. He's not going to play around with this anymore because, as we've seen in his relationships with Lestat and Armand in the past, Louis is nobody's sucker. he might very well be in abusive relationships. He might be the one getting the fist to face a lot of times. But Louis is not an idiot. And he knows when something's going on, it's going to be hard for him to hold it in. And that's very much what we see as Daniel tries to continue this interview with Louis and Armand, is that Louis he can't let it slide. Everything he knows about Armand now and his manipulation of things, he's letting that rise up to the surface and bubble and fester. And, it's so interesting because I think that a lot of these episodes this season have very much given us this idea of Armand, that things are very much black and white. And I am very much guilty of that. I own that completely. Armand was presented as very much a different version of Lestat, where Lestat kind of ruled by chaos. Armand rules by order, and he's going to toe this line no matter what anybody else thinks. What he thinks is the way that things have to go. And Louis is the only person who has the ability to shake that in Armand. But as we find out, he might not be as treacherous as things all point to. Because we do find out that Louis apparently asked Armand to wipe his memory of what happened with the interview with Daniel back in the 70s. The suicide attempt, the fight that they had, all these things surrounding it, that Armand was told by Louis to wipe his memory of that. Now, that immediately puts Armand in a different light because he did it for Louis. He did what Louis was asking him to do. And regardless of the fact that he almost killed Daniel, and there very much is a lot of resentment there, which Armand actually apologizes multiple times to Daniel for the situation that occurred because it's jealousy and he's weak. And Armand has admitted that. And that is making this character so impossibly better. He's so impossibly hard not to love because he is being open as each layer gets pulled back. And I feel that that's more than a lot of times what we get out of Louis. That Louis is still very much clouding a lot of what's going on, which is another point of this episode, is let Louis hides his actual feelings, and Armand puts a lot of that out there. And just as quick as I say that, I'm now thinking about the closing moments of this episode and realizing, god damn, that this show is a complete mindfuck, y'all. A complete and utter mindfuck with the way that people keep changing in and out of the positions in their relationships that they are. So, at least in current times, some of that tension has been abated. It's been pulled back because of Armand owning up to things and kind of giving the full story of what happened back in the 70s. But there's another problem here, is that now we are getting into the real crux of what happened in Paris. We've been kind of on a slow burn to get there. We're now at that point, and we now get to see what Armand's involvement in that is, because we knew that Madeline, I said it when we started these reviews this season here, Madeline was going to end up being Claudia's muse, going to be Claudia's companion. This was going to end up being the person that Claudia wanted to have turned to be her new companion, because Louis was going to leave her for Armand. And weeks back, I speculated, I had said that, it didn't really seem that way because Louis was very uncommittal with Armand, which this episode goes even further to kind of mention there in the background. But Louis was so non-committal to Armand, it didn't seem like he had that he didn't have much distracting him from Claudia. Like, he could still look out for her, and he very much was in a lot of the episodes that we've seen. But Claudia just doesn't feel like that connection is there anymore, and she ends up saving Madeline from an attack at her shop. And we learn a lot more about Madeline's backstory here and some of the injustices and pain and abuses that she's gone through, and the reason why she's okay with accepting the dark gift, because we find out that her life has been anything but nice, anything but loving, anything but caring, that she grew up a bit of an odd girl and that things got worse and worse for her. And we see, though, the way that she perceives Claudia, and that Claudia is like this bright light in all of this darkness that has come to her life prior to the two of them meeting. And the fact that she doesn't see Claudia the way that the people in Paris see Claudia, or that the rest of the vampire troupe at times sees Claudia as well too, that she sees Claudia for the way that Claudia sees herself, if not even greater than that. And so it makes sense that Claudia has chosen Madeline as a new companion, and that Madeline is very receptive to the idea. And so Claudia begs Louis to turn Madeline, because she knows that it's done, that Claudia and Louis are finished at this point, that they're going to separate, that these two are just so completely different at this point in terms of what they want and where they're going. And it's interesting because Louis wants the best for Claudia, he truly does, but at the same time, between his relationship with Lestat, his new relationship with Armand, what he's dealt with in terms of the loss of his family and the pain that both him and Claudia have been through, he absolutely needs a break from Claudia at this point. He's been so responsible for her for so long, he needs his own thing. And so it's this thing to where, yes, what he's doing is for Claudia's benefit, but it's also for Louis' benefit as well. And so he makes that decision to turn Madeline for Claudia. Unfortunately, with all of this, because we are going back to the past and dealing with the vampire troupe, you have to remember, a couple of weeks ago, we left off with the idea that Santiago and the rest of the troupe were learning about Louis and Claudia's relationship to Lestat and what they've done, the fact that Claudia exists in the first place, and what they're doing to Madeline as well too. All of these things are breaking countless rules that the troupe want to have everybody abide by at this point. And Armand, who is deep in his love now, who does share these deep feelings for Louis and wants to pursue that more and more and more, Armand allows himself to be blinded, and that is where the treachery ends up coming from. And unfortunately, it gets even worse as Armand basically has to make a choice for himself and for Louis and Claudia. And I think you could probably guess how that choice is going to go. Unfortunately for everybody involved in this situation, the vampire troupe is keenly aware of what's happened with Lestat, and they are going to choose to punish Claudia and Louis for everything they've been involved in. Now, two big things to pull out of this episode from everything else that has happened, because it has been amazing. Next week is going to break a lot of us, y'all. It is absolutely going to break a lot of us. But before we're done, we got two specific things I want to call attention to. One, the return of Raglan James, played by Justin Kirk, who, god damn it, I did not realize that was Justin Kirk when Raglan showed up, earlier on in the season. I love Justin Kirk. I'm a big Weeds fan, y'all. And I'm so stoked to see him on this. I hope that means that Raglan James is going to be like one of the focal points of the Talamasca series. I am all on board with that. And even crazier to realize that Rashid is a member of the Talamasca as well too. So somebody is embedded that's kind of keeping an eye on the situation. And it just heightens the stakes even more. One thing that I feel is so comparable on this show here. I like to take Anthony Starr's performance as Homelander in The Boys. That across these 4 seasons, anytime you look at Homelander, anytime you're dealing with Homelander, there's just that fear in the back of your mind, because we've seen it from time to time across that show, that Homelander could just snap and take somebody out, do something horrendous, make this ungodly decision that's going to affect so many people. And don't you feel that way a lot of times with Interview with the Vampire, no matter which character is, whether it's Louis, whether it's Lestat, whether it's Armand, whether it's Claudia, like Santiago, it doesn't matter. You just feel that you're just waiting for that to happen, and it's about to get terrible for a lot of people. And with Rashid being revealed as being an agent of the Talamasca, I love that, because it takes a little bit of the power back from Armand and Louis, that Daniel might not be any more safer, as Raglan James very much tells them that they are terrible at keeping their assets alive, but Daniel might have a little bit more support than what he truly believed in the first place. So I like that interesting wrinkle. The big one. Y'all know exactly what I'm talking about if you watch the episode as well too. If you're watching this first, I told you there were spoilers in this now. Please don't keep watching or listening to this, even though there's only a little bit left here in this episode, y'all. But the end of last night's episode gave us something that I was not expecting at all, only because I'm so locked in on the book and in the movie that I wasn't expecting it. And I talked about it, I think either in the last episode or the episode before last. When or where would Lestat reappear? Most likely it'd be modern times, because the book and the movie tell us that Lestat and Louis did not have another encounter until back in New Orleans. Later on, Louis gets to go see a movie, gets to see the sunset for the first time and forever. But now that Louis sees a sunset already, or a sunrise, as he tried to kill himself, obviously, again, we're playing with new rules, new information at this point. And last night's episode left us off by showing Lestat is with the vampire troupe. They have captured Claudia, Louis, and Madeline. Armand has helped to set them up, and Louis is happy as he seems with Armand, because Madeline was able to ascertain that Armand loves Louis and vice versa, that they feel the same way. Moments later, Armand betrays the three of them to the troupe, who capture all of them and take them back to Paris, to where a new play is putting on the trial of the vampires. And waiting in the wings is Lestat de Lioncourt. I don't know what's going to happen, folks. I don't get the screeners for this here, but I am blown away. And that's why this episode went a little bit longer here, because there is so much with this to unpack. Who knows what's going to happen, because somebody's got to die. Somebody's got to die. Lestat isn't letting anybody off that easily. He might let Louis off, but Claudia seems to really be in for it here in this next episode. So stay tuned. We still got a few more episodes to unpack this season, y'all. I am loving it, loving it, loving it. Please share this review and subscribe, because we're trying to get more eyes on Interview with the Vampire. It's an amazing show, folks. I'm loving it. I'm loving that you're checking these recaps out. Tell me what you think in the comment section. What the hell is going on with Lestat? What's going on with Raglan, James, and Rashid? I want to hear from y'all. But that's it for it tonight, y'all. My name is T. We've been talking scary movies. Stay scared.
Boy here is a big fan of Fangoria. So, if you want to check out the world's best horror magazine that's out there, get a chance to get yourself your own subscription, which I just got my first one back in 2022, and I don't regret it for a second. But if you want your own Fangoria subscription, or you like the Fangoria merchandise, then head over to the Fangoria shop and use my link if you want to save yourself some money, folks. That's an easy one to remember. Just go to shop.fangoria.com/AXDEW. Again, that's shop.fangoria.com/AXDEW, or use my specific code AXDEW at checkout. You can save 20% off your entire order, and that implies 2 subscription and one-time orders as well. You don't want to miss out, folks, because with the magnitude of horror movies we've had released in the last few years, and with what we have on the horizon, Fangoria is going to be your #1 source for all that great, juicy, bloody information in the world of horror. So again, head to shop.fangoria.com. Hey there, folks! Thanks for tuning in to T Watch This Scary Movie. I appreciate you checking out another review or movie news, whether we're talking movies, TV shows, books, or games, whatever, it's all scary. Remember, you can check out new episodes every Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on the YouTube page for video. That's youtube.com/C/Theron Reynolds Scary Movie. Again, youtube.com/C/Theron Reynolds Scary Movie. And you can check out the audio version on all your favorite podcasting platforms. Just search T Watch the Scary Movie or TWASM. Don't forget, my name is T. We've been talking scary movies. Stay scared.